to 1500. They're actually playing 1000 player. So you would expect some destruction from the 1500. Their usual problems are random use of the correct transitions, the planning and the strategies, so they get them kind of jumbled up, and utilizing the tactics and ending up in kind of strange positions, which doesn't really bode too well for them. So more tactically arranged position doesn't usually end up too well for them. So now they're going in for the big attack, attacking the bishop. Let's see how they do against this 1000 player. So the thousands, as we've got, they know how the pieces move. They've got no plan, no real strategy. They're more inclined to use quick and dirty tactics and no positional understanding, really. So this is where the 1500 may come into their own, but they may overpress and they may end up in blunderous positions because they're being too overzealous with what the 1000 is giving to them. Let's see how it pans out. I'm not expecting the 1000 player to win, but I'm expecting that the 1500 will allow them winning possibilities. So simple maneuver, going for the X-ray through to the bishop. So from the monstrous attack that they had going there, I believe they felt they had some sort of tactical arrangement going. But you look at the tail of the tape, still even Stevens. Now looking to trade off if they can. So the game is being simplified by the 1000 player. But as usual, really, generally, they don't have a plan. They're just reacting to what's actually happening on the board. And if they allow the 1500 to take charge, then the 1500 will take charge, but they may suffer from the grandioso showboating aspect, which basically makes them blunder because they're getting a bit too hearty and not really utilizing the position. Case in point, the bishop here is getting a little bit trapped in, so he's now having to play a bit of defense nanny. So the 1000 players using basic chess of just pushing the pawns, looking to squish the king and the bishop with the pawns. They're not really doing a right lot with their pieces at all. Yes, just basic chess, just pushing pawns. Black doesn't have a way in. I can see the focal point being on this file. Yeah, exactly. But how do they get to work their pieces together? That is one of the problems of the 1500, of working pieces together. They have this jumbled up random use of the correct transitions and planning and strategies, which really can cause them a lot of problems because they have it there, they have the knowledge, but applying it is a different kettle of fish. So they see the king's gone over to the queen side, so now they're pushing the pawn, makes sense, towards the queen side. But it's not clear. One of those positions that you say, okay, the knight's obviously jumping in here, attacking the queen, putting pressure on the pawn. Does it allow the queen to come here to try and sneak in? But there's no clear way in at the moment. Could be potential attacks on the pawns here to try and weaken the area towards the king. But it's not clear. Now the knight's moved, the queen does have space to come here in front of the king. Don't know if there's any support really until these pawns start pushing down towards the king area, which could be a bit horrendous for the 1500. So as we've mentioned, random use of the correct transitions. At this point in time, it's the start of the mid game. Not sure if that was the right move. I would have probably been happier with this, but I don't know. I probably would have been wrong. Still same effect, I suppose, pushing onto this pawn. Alright, they're ramping up the attack on this pawn here. So they're doing basic chess. It's just nice, simple, waiting for black to make a mistake. This poor bishop's not in the game, so you'd expect this pawn to move to at least maybe even threaten attacking the knight, or making space to come across here, manage the pawns pushing up. So they have to start using a proper plan, some sort of strategy now, the 1500, or else they are going to get squished. All their pieces are kind of backward. So they need to be forcing something somewhere. I don't think the 1000's done anything strange at this moment in time. It all looks pretty simple, basic chess. If you look at the grand scheme of things, I don't really see what this is doing. Yep, so they're going to start attacking already. Like I said, probably would have been nice to see this sort of thing to get the bishop in the game as well. So a little bit of impatience there. So now the rook's opposite the queen. So they're just using basic chess. Like I said, I didn't really know what that rook was doing here. Not going to be doing much. Even if they pushed here, it's not that dynamic. Teamwork is key. Are they going to eventually push here? Is there a problem pushing the pawn there? I don't really see. Because all the knight's going to do is attack the bishop and it's going to get taken off the board if that doesn't move. No. And again, kind of random use of knowledge. I mean, rook going opposite the queen. It might be something, because if it does take, the pawn can't take. But the rook can take. And the rook can face the queen. But all the while, this knight can just go and get the bishop off the board. They're not doing that, so they're just focusing on trying to do something because there's some type of pressure towards the king area. So maybe a missed opportunity of getting that bishop off the board and doubling the pawns in front of the king. Queen could come and sit here and start troubling it for a moment. Obviously the king can come here and the rooks will start challenging. But in any event, feels like it would have been something better. I think they'll ignore that and they'll just push something, one of these. But it looks very sketchy. So in the grand scheme of things, you can't really see the difference between the levels, you know, the playing levels. You know, it looks like a pretty ordinary game. Black is +1, so you would think obviously that's advantageous. But like I've said, just being +1 doesn't mean you've won the game if your pieces really can't do anything in the game. Because it's got one piece that is totally out of the game, the dark square bishop. If they make a mistake and move, then obviously they can take the rook. So you're expecting some type of blunder from 1000. Yep. Because in the reality, coming towards like the back end of the mid game to the end game, you would expect them not to have a good positional understanding of the board. They've done well to get to this stage, so I'm fairly happy they've played fairly normal here. But I would expect then that the no plan aspect and no strategy aspect is going to be a little bit less than what the 1500 would be. What was that they took with the What? Okay, I think what they're thinking is if the knight takes, then the rook takes here. That's why. Okay, so what we were just talking about, the plans and the strategies being slightly outweighed by the 1500. That's what should happen coming in towards the end game. There should be a catastrophic blunder by the 1000 player. All the hard work that they've put into this, getting to this point here, they have actually pushed the pawn up as well. Yeah, all the hard work they've put into getting to this stage here, there should be one momentous blunder. What I would expect to see. It's not that they want to play like that, but I just think it's going to start happening anytime soon. Unless, of course, black really falls into a total randomized aspect of plans, etc. I can see this happening. Just the smaller piece attacking the higher piece, blocking the queen's access coming around here. So I'm not really sure what the queen move is. Don't know why that rook's moved there either. Smaller piece attacking the higher piece, getting rid of it. Knight's probably jumping here and then going here to get the rook off the board. If I can see that, anybody can see that. Yep. But he's so focused on protecting this pawn. It's not come down for that actually. Yet. He's attacking another pawn, so he's giving them things to think about all the time. Queen probably coming to defend. Gives him space for his rook to come here to then put 3 pieces on the pawn. Rook are probably going to have to come here to defend the pawn. So they'd lose the aspect of doing that magical knight move. So there seems to be lots of missed things going on. Whether the opponent, whether white's seeing that or not, the 1100, maybe they haven't seen that type of thing. And they're just going for the basics, which is this. Oh, at last! There we go. That's what we expected to see. Was it too late to the party? Maybe not. I think, well, maybe because it's allowed the rook to be able to come here at some stage and put 2 pieces attacking and the queen's having to defend, rook's having to defend, so he's playing defense nanny. And this knight's staying there forever, so it needs to get this, but then it gets a passed pawn. So it's all a bit annoying in a sense, because really they've allowed the 1000 players to get this, looks like a good draw type position. Queen's gone back and it's opposite the rook. So the knight's not moving anywhere really. But nothing's really taking the knight from there anyway. He'll just end up with a passed pawn. Not really challenging the rook because the rook got support from the pawn. So it's totally jammed in, and the 1500 is now, if we have a look at the game is time as well, which is 0 increment. There's no increment on it at all, and his time is now down to 1 minute and 38. So he's now doing what looks like a waiting move. Supporting the pawn, looking to push it up maybe to see if there's any pressures put on the king. I don't think that's, just looking at the position, I don't think it's good enough in the time he's got. Now the rook's coming opposite the king, using all basic chess stuff here. Yeah, looking to challenge the pawn. And it's going to get a passed pawn, dude. That's going to hurt if you take. I don't see there's much ways out for 1500. The 1500 feels like he's been put into some sort of, it's a long distance mating net, because it's still mid game, because the queens are still on the board. Lots can happen. Putting pressure on the 1000's time though. He's hitting the blitz mark. It's hit the blitz mark. So interesting game, indeed. Never underestimate the person you're playing. Always have in the back of your head the potential traits that they may display and try and block them off. 1500 had many opportunities to block that off and make it a stronger position for themselves. But as we mentioned, they've kind of used randomized, or they've taken and they've allowed the pass pawn. So I think this game is kind of done. Yeah, he's going to have to babysit this. He's going to have to just bring the rook here and block. So you're looking at best a draw attempt by the 1500. Unless they go too arty and then end up with a tactical positional mess. So we've got to see vision. Maybe there's trying to own the file here with the rook. Maybe bring this rook to block first and then maybe get this rook here. It's blocking and protecting there, so give some space for the rook to come here. Only thing I can see, queen can come round the back and tap that pawn if the queen comes round the back, but they might have enough time to start putting some pressure on the king. Maybe. Yeah, so that goes up. This one comes across. That's the only thing I can kind of see. This rook would have to come back if it was coming here, but then it'd get taken. And he has pressure to open up space in front of the king. Does he go for it? I think he's got to bring this. Let it go, boom. Whichever way. So the rook's now going to hit the queen, which is good, I think. Yep. Gives them space, and maybe the rook just comes here now just to block everything off. Then the queen comes behind. Then they can look to put a few checks on the king. Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough. He can come round the back. Rook's probably coming there. It's only got 19 seconds left, so it'd have to be some mating pattern that I've not actually seen. That queen's not doing anything there, really, is it? Takes. Yeah, I don't understand. So that might have been a catastrophic blunder that allows him to either get a draw. Ooh, maybe not. Check. Get the rook off the board. Oh. Check and get the rook off the board. Okay, he moves. Not all that combination surely is not fast enough, is it? He could have just got the rook off the board. Too slow. That's too slow. He's trying to go like this, isn't he? That's too slow, dude. Now he's got checkmate. Oh, and he timed out. Look at the analysis on that. Telling me it's showing a draw. It's showing a draw. Oh. Rook takes g6. Where's g6? Takes there. I don't know if the 1500 would have seen that. He was so focused on going for some sort of. He would have ended up being mated. Takes. Takes. Queen takes. Yeah, okay. It's showing as a draw. But they lost on time, they didn't manage the time, and they lost a load of opportunities during that game. So, yeah, well played by the 1000 player. To me, they didn't do anything. Somebody's done a report analysis straight away. But if you have a look, really and truly, they've done nothing special. I mean, like 4 blunders, 3 mistakes, 2 inaccuracies, 2 blunders, 4 mistakes, and 3 inaccuracies for the 1500. Yeah, they just missed opportunities. Played defense nanny. Didn't really have a proper strategy or plan or anything. I believe they had opportunities earlier in the game which should have been taken advantage of, and White was just playing nice, simple, basic maneuvers, just blocking and repositioning, just waiting for black to do something, but black didn't take that opportunity.